Welcome to the Horror Friendly Podcast.
It's not over till that bitch is dead.
Let's delve into that a bit deeper.
I'm going to be like the peacekeeper between you two tonight.
Don't fuck with the original.
Yeah, don't fuck with the original.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Horror Friendly Podcast, part of the You Run Podcast Network. My name is Katie, and I am joined by my wonderful co-host, Chantal. Hi, Chantal.
Hi.
So we're going to be doing something a little different for you guys for the next month or so. We've decided to do a little mini-series covering some of the incredible films showcased at the UK Film Festival FrightFest. We're so excited to introduce you to these films and give you a bit of insight, our insight, and who knows, maybe we'll be joined by some special guests along the way. Thanks so much for listening and enjoy.
So, are you ready for this?
I think so, yeah. This is a different kind of thing that we're doing for the next month or so, as I've said in the intro, but I'm looking forward to it.
I'm really excited. This is a really cool thing that we've been able to be a part of. So we're very grateful for that. But yeah, we've watched a couple of the films already, but you will actually get to go to FrightFest. So if you are around, say hi, although I think they've already happened by the time this comes out. So past say hi to Katie, or still drop us a message because we're still social. So yeah, you excited for it?
I'm so excited for it. I'm ready to go.
Well, we've got 3 this week. Are we gonna start? We didn't actually discuss the order, so are we gonna start with Charlotte?
Let's do it.
Okay, so Charlotte was directed by Georgia Conlan, and in the dead of night, Charlotte, a young girl, appears at Roy's doorstep, fleeing from her abusive father. Despite a few too many drinks, Roy reluctantly offers her shelter for the night. What begins as a simple act of kindness soon evolves into a complex relationship as Charlotte's stay extends beyond a single night. As the days pass and Charlotte's trust in Roy deepens, tension mounts as the audience is left to ponder the true nature of their connection. With each startling revelation, the line between protector and predator blurs, leading you to question if they are who they seem. I like this. I get like a decent amount of info rather than something.
Yeah.
So
it's great.
Yes. Yeah. I like it. It's handy. But this is starring Georgia Conlan, who is also the director, Dean Kilby and Liam Conlon. So, Katie, what were your first thoughts on this one?
Well, when I watched the trailer, I wasn't really sure what to expect with the film because I do love trailers that don't give away much. I think especially in like a horror or a thriller, I think it's the best thing to just not give away anything. And this trailer just did exactly that. So I wasn't sure what to expect at all when I watched it. So yeah, I mean, this film was just full of surprises, full of twists and turns that I just didn't really expect. But yeah, first thoughts were just like curious. I was just completely curious. Like I knew it had to be one of the first ones that we covered because I was just like, it instantly got me hooked. What about you?
Well, that was it, because you messaged me and you were like, you were just like, Charlotte, because you'd sent me a couple over and you were like, Charlotte is amazing. So I was really, I kind of had my expectations quite high, and it was one of the, like, you know, the amount of films you've said to me like, oh, you're gonna love it, and I don't. I actually did. Like, I think love for it though is a hard word because given the context of the film, we are probably going to talk a bit cryptic, just FYI listeners, because we are trying not to give away any spoilers because, as we said, these are really new films, so we want to give you a taste without ruining it for you. But it is a really tense, it's a bit of a hard watch. There probably are some trigger warnings in there, which I'm not going to say because it will ruin the story. However, the way they're introduced, if it's the trigger if it's your trigger, there is enough warning for you to stop watching. Mm-hmm. And I think that's quite nice. Like, it doesn't just hit you in the face too hard. But it makes you question everything. Like, you're constantly questioning every character.
Yeah.
And I found that quite, like what you think is happening at the beginning completely kind of flips, and like some bits I'd kind of twigged, but not all bits. And then so it was still going to surprise you, even if you thought you'd figured it out.
Yeah.
That was really good, especially for horror.
Yeah, you're so right that you question everything, because you question each character as well. You're like, could they be the bad guy? Could they be the good guy? Like you don't know. So everything is so ambiguous, and you just have no idea until you actually watch it.
And even as you're watching it, you're like, I'm not 100% sure.
Well, exactly. Yeah, you don't know it properly until the end of the film.
It was funny because I was watching it next to my partner, but I had like headphones on, and he suddenly looked over and he's like, "Are you sure this is a horror? Because there's like parts of it that don't look like a typical horror. And if someone did just walk in the room, they would just be like, what are you watching?" Like, I don't know, because the opening is just, I didn't look up actually where they filmed it. I would assume the West Country. Like, it looked quite Somerset. It looked quite just rolling hills, small cottage. But it was almost, and I think there was quite like sinister music. But I was like, if you'd put any other music over that, it could have changed the entire genre.
Yeah.
Like, it almost looked like The Holiday, like starting in a little English village. Like, it was so
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys will know what we're talking about. We'll clip a trailer in and you'll see. And there's some amazing stills that we've managed to get from the film as well. And you'll see, and it does look like a beautiful place to be able to film as well. So, and it was the perfect location for it, because it was all very like mysterious and kind of creepy, and you weren't really sure what was going to happen. So yeah, no, it's great.
I've written some things down, but they're absolute spoilers, so I can't say. The funny thing is, some of the things I wrote down, once you get to the end, they're irrelevant, because actually I'm like, I was completely on the wrong path. So again, I think that's so funny that it still manages to throw you. Yeah, I love it. But again, there was bits where something happened. As you say, we keep questioning the characters, because something would happen and you'd be like, well, that's out of character. Again, you just don't know. You just don't know what's happening completely.
No, definitely not.
Yes. What did you think of the acting in it?
Yeah, well, I was going to say, I mean, obviously this is a bit of a different dynamic to our normal episodes. So we'll obviously still be doing kind of like our spooky moment, or like our favorite moment, and our spookies out of 5. So that brings it on nicely to my spooky moment, or the core moment. I think was Georgia Conlan in this film in general. I think it was a very difficult performance. There was, like you said, there's a lot of difficult scenes, and I think she handled that immensely, like just incredibly. I think it was clearly she felt like in a safe space to be able to act and play that role properly. But it's just amazing that she directed and wrote this film, and then also put herself through the process of playing Charlotte as well. I thought she was incredible, and I really am excited to see what she does next, because she totally blew me away. So I think my spooky moment and my moment of the film is her.
So I completely agree, but I do think it says a lot as well. So I'll give Dean Kilby a shout out, who plays the main
100%.
One, because he does it. I think what's funny as well, one of the films we're actually going to cover in this episode, he came up in as well, and it shows his range. Like, because he starts, I think at the beginning, like the acting, not that it was off, but it was a bit, like you were like, okay.
You weren't sure.
You weren't sure, but you weren't supposed to be sure. And again, I think that all comes to play a bit later. But as you say, like some of the more difficult parts of the film, the trust between those two must be through the roof.
Yeah.
Because there was no way they could have done it without that trust. Because I think you and I even spoke quite openly about it, and we're like, there was 1 or 2 scenes where it's a lot. So just fucking kudos to them, because that's amazing. But I do have to love, it was actually some of the smaller characters, and I will say it because I think it's hard. I don't think it's a spoiler, but there's a couple of characters who are playing like your typical teenagers, and I think they got, if there was an American watching this, like they are like it probably seems a bit like a mockery of like English teens, but they got it spot on. Like, that is what your typical chavvy English teenagers are like. But I even said, I think I said to you, and I was like, are teenagers still like that? Like,
apparently so.
Apparently so. It's like, it was so funny, and I was like, they actually just were brilliant, and it was so perfectly done. They just cracked me up, like some of those scenes, and I was like, they've got this. Like, they were horrible teenagers, but they acted it so well. It was perfect. So that was really a highlight for me.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, they were great actually. Yeah, they were really good. Yeah, fair play for recognizing them, because they were super fun.
It was just like, so real. You were like, yeah.
It was so real. I was like, does this thing still exist? Like, clearly it does, but
So I thought kids were getting nicer. Like, all this crap, yeah, was bringing back like facts of life.
PTSD. Fuck me.
Yeah. So anyone who's not English, if you want to know what the school life experience is, watch this. But also
watch Charlotte.
Yeah, somewhere between the two.
They're so different.
So different, and yet somehow the teenagers are so perfect in both. Like,
here you go, Georgia. If you're listening, if you're watching, Chantal has just compared your film to The In-Betweeners. So
certain characters to The In-Betweeners. But it was peak British school life, and it was perfect. It was so well done.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely hats off to them. Nailed it. But yes, wow. This is going to be a hard one, I think, to give this Spookies out of 5. Because we can't give I don't want to give spoilers.
No.
So we can't really give our reasons as to why, but we can try and give our Spookies.
We totally can. We can. I think so for this format, we're going to do Spookies out of 5. And then kind of who would we recommend this film to? Who do you think is like the audience that it would appeal to the most? So Spookies out of 5 for me, I would say 4 out of 5. I think it's a solid film. I'd watch it again. I think that I did actually end up watching the sort of second half again. And you really pick up other things, and once you find out everything in the film, you notice more. So that's what I loved about it, that you can come back to it and watch it. And yeah, I thought it was great. So yeah, what about you, Tal?
Do you know what? That's true, actually. I haven't rewatched it yet, but I'm now tempted to, because I imagine there is a lot in there. I think that was the thing, I picked up on bits, and that's what was confusing me at the beginning, but probably not the right bit. So I'd like to rewatch it actually. But I'd give it a 4 as well. I think this is going to be a really hard series to try and give a 5, because we don't know what's still coming. But as a standalone, this is a 4. This was so well done. But I actually don't know. Like, you could go higher, because I don't know what else I'd add to it. Yeah, actually, no. So, yeah, no, I'm going to stick with a 4, because, yeah, again, I don't want to say why, but because it'll give it away. However, yeah. Sorry, I was going to go off on a tangent, but I
can't. You can't do that.
I just can't. But I don't know who would we recommend this to?
I would say like thriller fans, maybe sort of more psychological films, because I think that's the beauty of FrightFest. It doesn't have to just appeal to straight up horror. Like, it is, other films that we are covering throughout this series are going to include sort of more thriller based things, maybe comedy, horror, that kind of thing. So I think maybe if you're not a horror fan directly, like you don't love a slasher or things, then I think I think someone that likes a thriller or a psychological thing, I think, is perfect.
I would add to that as well, someone who may like true crime. Like, I think, someone who's not sort of afraid of like real life horror. I think this would be kind of up their street. I would say it's not very fun. It is a bit of a hard watch, definitely at times. So again, like, just watch it kind of when you're in the right headspace.
Yeah.
I think, but yeah, I think it's really powerful though. I would recommend it to most people. I think there's one or two, if you knew someone, their trauma, you'd be like, maybe not.
Yeah.
I think the majority people I know would fucking love it. So
yeah, fully agree.
Amazing. Well, that was Charlotte, and again, we're trying so hard not to give away any spoilers, but go and watch it. Just go and watch it and enjoy. Wow.
We'll provide so these films have really been centered around FrightFest, so we'll find a bit more information as to where you can watch Charlotte now that FrightFest is over, but I'm sure that the guys will also have information on their Instagrams, which we'll link, and there's a website for the film as well, which will have more information. So we'll link everything, give you all the information you need to watch those films.
Yeah, well, enjoy.
Enjoy, guys.